Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Light Within the Unknown podcast. I'm Brandon,
Hi, I'm Linda.
and with us for this episode, we have Madeline on. Madeline was a co host of the show Fear Babes. Now she currently has another podcast. It's called Cryptic Minds, if I'm not mistaken. Am I
Close.
saying it wrong?
The Cryptic Mind.
Okay.
Oh, it just froze. Sorry, it just froze, so I don't know if that came through.
Oh, really? Over on your end, it froze?
Yeah, you guys both kind of froze, and all I heard was the end of cryptic.
Oh, it was Cryptic Mind. So Madeline, tell us a little bit about, what got you into doing podcasting and everything else on those lines.
Yeah, so I pretty much in a nutshell, long story short, when I first started watching Destination Fear, which is now Project Fear, it was on the Travel Channel. I just remember watching the show and I really just wanted to bring something to life for the fellow Fear fan members. I remember thinking about this all the way back in 2020, which is crazy to think about because in 2019, October of 2019 is when Destination Fear first launched on the Travel Channel. And I just had this thought like about a year later where I was like driving down the road and I was like, man, it would be so cool to just like kind of dissect the episodes and just discuss the evidence that was found and all of that good stuff, right? So yeah, I would say about in 2022 is when the real magic started happening. I started making friends in the paranormal community, and two of those people who I grew to be really close with was Burgundy and Jamie. And I remember pitching the idea to them, and they actually wanted to do a podcast themselves. So I was like, guys, let's do it. And so I pitched the idea Fear Babes and what it would kind of be. And all of us together kind of, came up with what kind of formatting we wanted it to be. But really, it's just something that was it was a split second of an idea years ago. And then in 2023, we were like, let's do it. Let's do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good idea. That's actually how I came across the podcast that you guys all did. I listened to a few episodes, and then it kind of got, because I have a lot of different podcasts that I kind of go through and listen to, but the paranormal ones is kind of like a small rotation. Like, hey, like here's an episode that falls in line. Well, hopefully the next show gets up to it so I can hear it, kind of line aspect. But yeah, I did definitely hear a few episodes, and I was like, hey, like that's awesome that you guys talk about the episodes. Did like a little breakdown of all the episodes that you guys watched and seen. It's always cool to have friends with you doing the episodes instead of just random strangers. Like, say, hey, if you pitch it to some random stranger, you're like,
Yeah, it was definitely one of those things where I first thought about it, where I was like, who would I do this with? Because I was not friends with those girls like that until 2022 when we all met together and we went to New Jersey Para Unity. So that's kind of how that all just came to fruition. We started seeing each other more in person, talking on a more personal level than just a Project Fear, Destination Fear level. And yeah, I mean, it was great having like our banter all the time on the pod. It was a great way with us all being long distance. Jamie was in Pennsylvania, Burgundy was in Wyoming. It was just a great way for us to just sit down weekly and discuss our favorite show.
So how many episodes did you guys do of the podcast before it kind of came down to a close?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we hit 90.
Nice.
So, 90. So we had a good run. It lasted for 2.5 years, I believe. So, It was a good run. We had a lot of great people who came on the podcast, including Project Fear themselves. And getting to talk to them and pick their brains a little bit was really such a great opportunity.
That's awesome. So then, do you guys get all 4 members, or do you guys get Connor as well, or do you guys only do some of the people, like some of the members?
We were actually fortunate enough that we did have all 4 members. We had Connor, his wife Riley, and also Chelsea and Dakota's mom, Miss Polly Layden. So
nice.
Yeah.
And you started up a newer podcast recently.
Yes. So after Fair Babes ended, I still kind of had that itch that I wanted to. Can y'all hear that in the background? Did y'all hear anything? Okay. Thank God. I'm so sorry. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So after
Fear Babes.
Yes, thank you. So after Fear Babes ended, I just had that itch after a couple of months where I was like, I want to do a solo podcast. Now I had always wanted to do something on the side while also doing Fear Babes, but it just couldn't happen. I was just too busy. There was just a lot going on in my life, and there still is in amazing ways. But I just really wanted to pursue a solo podcast, and one that was really unique. So yeah.
So what's a podcast about? I mean, just so just to give it a little bit breakdown for people that never heard of the podcast, or people that never had a chance to, outside this episode, exploring into the podcast of it.
Yeah, so the Cryptic Mind is more of it is a paranormal podcast, but it's more of a psychological horror in a way where it's like I'm doing a lot of in-depth research on creatures and paranormal beings throughout history, and just kind of diving into how our human brain perceives it and the whole psychology behind it. So it's very interesting. Like the more I'm doing the research, the more where I'm just finding that, things are just absolutely like insane. It's crazy how our brains work and how our brains process fear. It's just insane. But that's pretty much what it's about. I'm almost done with my first season, but going forward, I'm still kind of up in the air about where I want to go with it. Because right now it's very, very different from Fear Babes, where I was chatting with people like I am with you guys. And the Cryptic Mind is more of a sit down, cinematic, heavily edited podcast. So, yeah.
So I apologize. I haven't listened to any of those episodes yet. But have you done anything on Mothman?
Not yet, but he is going to be, I think I just posted my 8th episode, so he's going to be in either the 9th or 10th episode, because he's more, I guess, quote unquote modern day, because right now I'm in 17th, 18th, 19th century. So yes, he's definitely on my list.
How about I think one is Siren Head. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that one. I know one of my buddies told me about that for a crypt. He was like, yeah, you should do an episode about Siren Head, because a couple years back I thought of kind of digging into doing a little small series of crypts, or doing cryptids. But I didn't know that many different ones outside of the Jersey Devil, Mothman. The ones that I guess you say more popular are the ones that I've heard of. But he was telling me let's 13, and I was like, dude, I don't got that kind of time at the moment to go down that whole rabbit hole. I was like, it's a little bit easier just to have guests on and talk about it. Somebody that can inform me. But
yeah, that's so true. I'm going to be completely honest with you and just very straightforward. It is a lot more research than I thought it would be. Especially I think it was the first 3 episodes on just solely the ancient world because there were so many different, like, it's not just cryptids or anything, it's just like paranormal creatures in general, like the night hag and stuff like that. That goes all the way back. And so it was just very interesting. Like the more you dig, the more you'll find things
The
that I had.
banshees.
Yes, like it's crazy. It's crazy what you find.
Oh, too bad we don't live closer. I could give you some books if you didn't already have them.
And see, that's my favorite thing. I love researching and like reading books and just kind of being a nerd when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I want to understand. Like, I want to hear people's experiences and just, stuff like that. I just think it's fun.
I am in the middle of reading a book. I'm almost done. Monsters, Something, and Cryptoids.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Right up your alley.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you need any ideas, I don't know if the author comes on podcasts or but I can always give you his name if you want to try to reach out to him.
Yeah, that works because
he does the monsters and cryptics, but also the paranormal aspect of it.
Yes, and I love that. I love that.
I'm picking my brain here. I'm trying to think if I know anybody because I might know somebody out in the paranormal field that might know about more of the cryptic stuff. I'll have to let you know though, probably like like after the episode's over, because like I said, I'm sure I could pick my brain and probably find somebody that could probably tell you maybe a couple that you never heard of before or that you might have.
Yeah.
Or maybe be able to give you a little bit more with some of them if you want somebody else to, kind of, break the ice on some of the history of some of the stuff, especially if it's one that you're just learning about. The person might know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure I'll definitely think of the name at some point in this podcast. So, did you ever do any, ever do any paranormal investigations? I know with a little bit that you told us you did a little bit, but have you done many or?
Honestly, that is where I can admit that I am extremely amateur. I have always wanted to do like real paranormal investigations. Now, I have been to a couple of paranormal locations. I've been to the Old City Jail in Charleston, South Carolina. I have been to Pennhurst in Spring City, Pennsylvania. So those are just 2 off the top of my head. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but that's just usually how those things go. But I haven't really investigated those locations, unfortunately. But I would love to. It's definitely on my bucket list to, investigate because it's honestly, it's the heart of the paranormal community. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to experience the things I'm watching and the things that I see my friends doing all the time. So it's definitely something I want to do.
So do you have a bucket list of locations that you'd want to check out? I know most people, have bucket lists of 30, 40 different locations, but I always say, hey, what are your top 10? Just,
Yeah.
To narrow it down a little bit. So do you have a top 10 bucket list of locations that you definitely want to go to?
Okay, so what was it that I think the Ancient Ram Inn is the first one that comes to mind. But anything, honestly, like, yes, I think American haunted locations are very fascinating. The history behind them, like, they're crazy. But going even deeper, I would love to go to the UK or anywhere in Europe and kind of investigate locations over there as long as it's permitted. Because I know that with history, sometimes I think the crown owns some locations, especially like in the UK. But I really want to go to places like that. I don't know why I can't name any off the top of my head, but I will say here in the States, Trans Allegheny is is another one that rings the bells in my head, and then the Winchester Mystery House. That's another one. Yeah. So not 10, but there's a couple for you.
Winchester is on my bucket list, but very, very, very far down my bucket list.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to drive that far. And trying to take all of the paranormal equipment on the airplane will get us flagged.
Listen, I totally understand that.
That's when you gotta pack light, Linda. You gotta look at a book bag. Look at what I do, where I fit everything into a book bag and just take it with me. And I'm like, all right, well, if it fits in the book bag, it's going on the road trip. If it's not, then crap. If I need something, Linda.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat with you. Now, I know that like people who do it for a living, like Project Fear and my friends over at Haunted Nights, I'm pretty sure how they pack is in multiple suitcases and they check all of them. And I'm like, dude, I can't even imagine how expensive that is. Like,
and how you have to pack it so nothing breaks.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I drive.
Yes.
Yep.
I can, yes. If not, then like I said, it's in a book bag and it'll be my carry-on at that point, because I'd rather not have something that expensive or that valuable get destroyed. Like, if clothing goes missing, fine. You'll buy more clothing. It's a whole lot cheaper than some of the stuff.
Amen to that.
So go ahead, Linda.
Go ahead.
So you said you were up to Penhurst before.
Mm-hmm. Were
you just up there for like a tour, or did you do any of the Penhurst Paracons?
So funny enough that we're even talking about Penhurst Paracon, because it's actually going on as we're recording this.
Yes,
but I've been to Penhurst Paracon twice. And when you go to Penhurst, you have access to certain buildings. So you can like go in there and tour it and do whatever. People were in there investigating because have you guys been to Penhurst?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys know that like even during the day, there are parts of the location that are just completely blacked out like it's night. Especially in like the tunnels and stuff like that. So we saw people everywhere investigating. It was kind of crazy because there were things that I heard that I was like, nope, like come through on like, gosh, I don't even.
Spirit box.
What was it? I think it was the spirit box.
Necro.
Yeah.
Necro. What's that one?
Yeah.
Necro theme.
Yeah.
Spirit Talker.
You know, it could have been Spirit Talker. It was either the Spirit Talker. It's so hard to remember. It was literally a blip of a moment. I just remember hearing something and I was like, oh, can I cuss on here? I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Like,
you're good.
Like, I just remember being like, no, I'm not. I forgot what it said exactly, but they were asking I think it was a girl. She was just asking questions. And I remember something came through like devil. It was something to do with that. And I was like, hell no. Sorry. I'm going in the opposite direction. I don't want anything to do with it.
Do you remember what building you were in when that was going on? Were you in the main building? I guess they called it Mayflower. Were you in that building when that was going on? Or was that down in the tunnels? Do you know by any chance?
It definitely wasn't in the tunnels because I had a whole other experience in the tunnels that I can tell you guys about. But I believe it was just in the Mayflower building. It was one of the top floors, I believe. They were all like, okay, maybe you guys can tell me a little more because I feel like I'm so like an amateur on this stuff. But it was the bedroom with all of the kids' toys on it. Like there's like a bed and there's a bunch of like little stuffed animals and stuff, and people were like circled in that room. I don't even know if that's the Mayflower or not. But
I was never there for the Paracon. That's what I'm trying to think, because I know I was looking at the tickets for this year, Madeline, we both been there for investigation wise
Yeah.
for a couple different times. We're actually from Pennsylvania, so that's why it's like, it's kind of just spread out our back.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
why I was asking about it. But yeah, when you go to the Paracon, I know they limit everybody to, I think it's like 1 or 2 buildings, and then I think the tunnels. That's why I'm just trying to think of if it was the Mayflower or the Devon building, because I think those are the two that they limit everybody with like general admission. Now, if you do, I think it was an upgrade, and they gave people like another 2 buildings to explore. That's why I was kind of like trying to like see where you were talking when you were talking about like that word coming up through.
Yeah.
Just because we've at least I always heard in the basement of the one building that there's somebody down there that does not like people, mainly does not like women.
I've
No,
never had an issue in the basement,
yeah, I haven't either. But
and I've been
but
down there by myself.
before, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was down in the basement by myself, and I never had an issue down there.
yeah, I never had anything really happen to me down there either. The only thing I really ever had happen was up on the third floor, third floor Mayflower. I just had a bunch of photos from being up there, and that's pretty much about it in that building. Really never had nothing. And that's nothing in that nature ever happened to me. But again, everybody's different from the way how they investigate or
Yeah.
the kind of energy that people bring along with them. Like some people could bring in good positive energy. Other people could bring in the negative type of vibe energy, and a lot of spirits feed off of whatever kind of energy you're bringing along with them. If you're bringing good energy with you, and they sense that, then you'll have a different interaction compared to somebody that will have negative energy. Somebody with negative energy is going to have that kind of interaction of, because that's what they might want to hear. They might want to hear that kind of saying coming through something, compared to like, let's say, like if you would ask the questions like, "Hey, what's your name?" You may never get that word ever coming through, and they might actually say the name because of your giving off of, let's say, good energy compared to that other person's energy. Just giving them like a little breakdown of how some of that stuff works. Sometimes when you're doing like a thousand box or a spirit box,
if you're nervous or scared or anxious, they're gonna feed off that and torture you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And tell you, I'm Satan, I'm the devil, just something just to make you run because they know that you have that extra anxiety.
Yeah, I wonder, because I remember, so this was actually last year, so a year ago, almost to the day. And me and Burgundy were vendors at Penhurst Paracon. So I actually took my mom, and we were the ones that were in the Mayflower, and we were the ones that came across those people that were doing some sort of spirit talker, spirit box session where they got that response. So I'm almost certain it was probably the Mayflower. But I will say, when I went to Penhurst for the first time in 2023 for the Paracon, and it was me, Burgundy, and Jamie, and we went into the tunnels, and we took a picture, and in that picture you can see something behind us. So that was really, really creepy. But aside from that, like, I think the only other thing that really occurred in the Mayflower building was just some lightheadedness, and like a little bit of a headache. And then as soon as we exited that building, it was gone. Like all three of us had some sort of effect to some extent. It was very strange. But that's pretty much the extent of it for Penhurst. I will say, like, I spent a lot of time on the property last year being a vendor, and like I didn't feel like anything followed me, because I know some people have some issues with that sometimes. But honestly, the whole time I was on the property, I felt pretty comfortable. So, you know, some people could have had a way different story as far as that experience, but that was the only thing that freaked me out last year, was walking up on those people and them getting like devil. And I was like, oh no, okay, we're going in the other direction, because I don't mess with that. even if it's just a word, you know? Just not me.
Agree.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not my thing. If I hear devil, Satan, anything like that, I'm like, I'm done. Sorry.
9 times out of 10, it's not.
Yeah.
Just for your own peace of mind.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it is not even close or remotely like that.
Yeah.
That's actually coming through.
I just hate the, like, even if it's just someone that's like playing with you on the other side, it's like, why are you even wanting to say that? Like,
because they're getting a reaction out of you.
yeah. Yeah.
That's all. Same as the living, the scare tactics, the
That's
jump
so
scares.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same on the spirit side.
Yeah. That's very true.
I guess they figure, well, you're coming through, we have to entertain you. Well, let's reverse the role and you can now entertain us.
Right.
And you can't see us, so haha on you.
Hear us.
Yeah, literally.
So I think you had a question before, Linda. I accidentally cut you off.
Yeah, maybe it'll come back.
I felt that.
I don't know what it was now. Like I said,
Sorry.
I don't really write anything down. This is kind of
No,
just go with the flow.
Mhm.
Um,
So you said you've been to somewhere down in Charleston.
Mhm.
What was that place like? The one that you went to down there?
Okay, so Charleston was kind of a different experience for me. So first of all, love Charleston. I'm a huge history buff, if you can't tell from just me talking about the Cryptic Mind. I love history. So Charleston has a special place in my heart because of that. But I just remember, and we didn't do anything like super crazy or anything like an investigation. We just did a ghost tour. So we went to the location, and this is before, I'm not exactly what happened here recently, but the building was still like abandoned to some extent. Like, it was not used for offices like it is now. It wasn't remodeled. This was back in 2018. So the building was pretty near true almost to what it probably was back when it was in operation. So we went in there, and I just remember being on the third floor and hearing about the story of Lavinia Fisher. Don't know if you guys know that story, but definitely look it up because it's very creepy. I can't help but think about her every time that I'm in Charleston just because it's stuck in my head. And also, Ghost Adventures did an episode in Charleston, so they touched on Lavinia Fisher as well. But I just remember that's where that was on the third floor. And I felt like something touched me on my back, but at the time, I wasn't sure. I had never been touched before. I was with my mom and my stepdad at the time, and I was just kind of like, what was that? And my mom was like, oh, whatever. And my stepdad at the time, he was definitely the kind of person that would try to like scare you intentionally. And he just made, like, he just liked to make you laugh, right? So he didn't say anything at that time, but he kind of, the way he was acting made me think that he might have was trying to scare me. So I put that in the back of my head. So then we go down to the basement. And the basement is where during the Civil War they kind of converted it into a hospital for Confederate and Union soldiers. And I kid you not, that's when I had no shadow of a doubt that I was being touched. And I was touched on, I can't remember if it was my left or right calf, but it felt like somebody was like reaching up and touching me, like a soldier of some sort that was just like reaching out and like needing help. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that popped into my mind. And I remember like looking back at my stepdad, I'm like, dude, why, like, what are you doing? And he was not even in my vicinity at all. He had walked over to the other side before I had even realized it. And he was like taking videos. And I was like looking behind me and I noticed nobody was behind me. And I was like, okay, I was just touched for the first time. So that's truthfully, honestly, the one and only time I've ever been touched by anything. It was just a gentle little light of as a feather touch, but it definitely freaked me out.
So then, did you go there before Penhurst, or did you go to Penhurst before going down there to Charleston?
Definitely, Charleston was my first paranormal, like my first location I had ever gone to. And it was just happenstance because we were on vacation in Charleston.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, because this is the era of which, like, I was watching Ghost Adventures religiously. I was watching it every single weekend, like when it would come on TV every Saturday, 9 p.m. I was watching that show. And I just remembered seeing them go into the Charleston jail, and I was like, we got to go there. They're doing ghost tours. We got to go there. So we went there, and yeah, honestly, the Old City Jail also felt very heavy. Just the energy in there was just so heavy and dark, if you will. Like, I don't know if that's just because I was scared, but it didn't feel like that. Like, because as soon as we left, I felt a million times better. So I don't know. That place is really creepy and it's very old. So could be because of that. I don't know.
It'd be a bunch of different things.
Yeah,
By the sound of it.
So many different things.
And who knows with the land even.
Yeah, especially that.
So when does your next episode? Do you do this weekly also, or?
So when I first started it, I attempted to do it weekly. And then I figured out with all of the research that I do that is not going to work. On top of the editing, it's just not realistic. I also, like normal people, work a full-time job. I also have other things that I do outside of podcasting that I'm committed to. So it is very hard to, believe it or not, fit in that time, just even if it's like 20 minutes a day. It is so hard. So I'm also in school, so I'm trying to finish my degree. And so I'm, as of right now, going back to monthly as of this week. But when I'm not in school, I try to do it weekly if possible. Which I don't like doing that, because as a person who did Fear Babes and was so committed to the weekly schedule, I don't like the inconsistency, but it's more of a hobby for me than it is, anything else. So I have to kind of remember that sometimes.
And if you don't mind my asking, what are you going to school for?
Nothing to do with anything. Like, okay, so I am going for my Bachelor of Science in Business Administration,
Nice.
which also kind of lines up with my job at the moment. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, I'm just excited to finish. I'm so ready to be done. I, not to get too deep into it, but when I first graduated high school, I was so into school, and then I dropped out because I was so over it. And then in my adulthood, I'm like, I'm ready to finish this degree. So that's what I'm doing. I'm finishing it up.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go from high school to college, and then you find out, oh, wait, I want to pursue something else now.
Exactly. And that was my biggest thing. Was I got into school, and believe it or not, I was actually going to go to be a history teacher. And then I was like, dude, like, I don't want to go into education. I was wanting to teach high schoolers.
Oh,
Yeah. So
well, it probably wasn't as bad as it is
No,
now.
exactly. And that's why I'm so glad that, like, it's like I had some sort of foresight in that moment years ago, where I was like, maybe education isn't for me, because schools have changed like so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, especially my local county. Like, I can't even. I'm so glad. That's all I can say. I'm so glad that I don't have
Yeah.
to do that.
I started out in early childhood education, teaching preschool, kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
I did that for 20 plus years. Then I went back to school for criminal justice.
Okay, see, that's fun.
And now I'm kind of using my teaching plus criminal justice, sort of, because I work in a behavioral alternative school.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's both worlds.
What was
Yeah.
that?
So then you kind of get the best of both worlds then in this word, for both of your degrees.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it best of both worlds.
Well, no, I mean, you know what I meant though. like you're using both of your degrees for that instead of just having, one or the other.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of, referring
Yeah.
to there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I totally get not being in the teaching field.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, when I was a kid, like, I knew, I was like, I'm going to be a teacher one day. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm destined to do. I kid you not, like, my freshman year of college, because when you go to college for education, they throw you into it. Like, you're going to those schools and you're observing.
Yep.
You're
Your
leading,
first semester.
literally your first semester.
Yep.
Like, you're leading group activities in real schools, and I'm like, dude, these kids are so bad. Like, I can't. I couldn't do it. And honestly, like, I'm proud of younger me for recognizing what I couldn't do, because a lot of kids would have just pushed through it and been like, okay, this is the rest of my life. And I didn't do that. So I just waited until I could find something that I actually enjoyed, because even though it is business administration, there is a heavy focus in marketing on in my degree. So I really enjoy that. And I found out that I enjoyed doing all the marketing type stuff for, like, the podcast with Fear Babes. And I was like, wow, I never thought that this was something I would enjoy. But here I am enjoying it. Editing, I enjoy it, because when I first started editing, I was like, I freaking hate this so much. This is the worst thing I've ever done ever. Because, like, I don't know how into Project Fear or Destination Fear you guys are, but Dakota and Connor are very much, like, they are very vocal about how much time they spend editing, and they love it. So I would sit down, like, in the beginning of Fear Babes and be like, what the hell do they love about this? This is the worst thing I have ever done in my entire life. But now I love it. I actually really do love it.
Once you start it, like, for me, it's getting the motivation to sit down and start it.
Exactly.
Once I get that out of the way, I'm good for hours.
Right. Same.
I'm locked in at that point. It's more so, like how you guys were saying before, you pretty much are stuck with almost a full day. Depends on what you're going over. And you just better have nothing else planned for the rest of that day, because, it's the point. It's the fact of just locking yourself down, saying, all right, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You're going to go from 8 o'clock in the morning to, let's say, 6 o'clock, give yourself a little bit of time for dinner, and then you're going to hop back on afterwards to wrap it up.
Yeah.
That was me last weekend doing the residential that I still have to finish. I did it all.
I didn't even touch it.
Day Sunday, and I'm still not done.
I didn't even touch it yet. I'm still trying to do Peachfield.
What? That's over. That's done.
I'm behind, all right?
And see, once you get behind, it's so hard to motivate yourself to catch up. It's like, should I just toss it? Like, at this point, like, should I just be done?
Oh.
Or like what?
I'm not tossing it because we've been finding some interesting evidence. I'll put it that way. But I'm like, I just can't believe I let myself get one behind.
Peachfield, I'm done with. I just have to go through the camcorder of when we were outside, but I don't think I caught anything. But I'm just going to go through it anyway. All the other videos I've gone through all the audio. I'm almost done the residential that we did. I think I have 3 more recordings to do.
Audio or video for the recordings?
Well,
yours is audio, right?
My video did not work because they kept draining the batteries.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. When you do start, if you do start going on more and more investigations, make sure you have stock in batteries.
I've heard that.
Another thing too is everybody will tell you different. Me personally, think of it in the manner of how much evidence do you want to go over? If you if you just want to just do one camera and one audio recorder, perfect. If you don't mind giving yourself, let's say, like maybe 2 weekends full of stuff to go over, more. Then more.
Yeah.
So it's like the more things that you add into your guess you say your collection of equipment is going to equal out to more stuff that you got to go over.
Yeah.
Like so I normally run with I run with 2 audio recorders normally and 2 camcorders normally, like 2 video cameras. And if you do think about it, if you do an 8-hour investigation, that is 32 hours worth of audio and video, just going over that kind of stuff.
Yeah, minus 100 hours sitting in front of your computer, slowing everything down.
Yep.
Right. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's why I always say personally, whenever I tell whenever I give the heads up to somebody, I'm like, less is best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially when first getting into it, or if you ever do like an investigation on your own, less is best.
And start off with I wish somebody told me that.
Yeah.
When I first started investigating years and years ago, I used to have a recorder in every room.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, if we weren't in that room and something happened, my recorder would pick it up.
Right.
Well, you're then having 6 recorders to go through.
Exactly.
Yeah,
which is so much.
I don't do that anymore.
No.
It's usually just one recorder. And maybe now I have 2 good, well, now I have more video cameras. But depending where the investigation is too, of what you really do. And then like if my son investigates with me, so if he goes into a different room, I'll make sure I hand him a recorder.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, not the 6 though. That makes sense, but 6, yeah, no. I don't think I could do that. I don't think yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's, it's always a great time going out to investigate. It always is. It just, even if you don't get anything, just seeing the new location, like how you said, with being really into history, especially if you know the history of the place by doing research or like watching, like how you said, like Ghost Adventures or Project Fear, or even if I'm not sure who else you watch on YouTube or if you watch any other people on YouTube, but even if you just get the history from that kind of standpoint as well, and that piques your interest in it, just knowing that a little bit of history, it definitely gives you a reason to go investigate some of the places. Even if you don't, like I said, even if you don't get nothing from it, you can still say, hey, I've been there to investigate and at least see the location and see how everything was.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I remember us talking about, like on Fear Babes, is that, sometimes there were episodes of Project Fear where, it seemed like they didn't get a lot of evidence. And I'm like, this shows, like, this is just the realism of it all. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not going to go to a location and get like huge amounts of evidence. It's just unrealistic because it's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But it's just the privilege of getting to see the locations that I think is honestly would be the best experience. Even if I didn't get any evidence,
But if you really like a location, and you keep going back to that location, the spirits will get used to you and they'll start communicating more with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came across that with going to a location about an hour away, and we went there probably like 6 or 7 times, just over just the course of like 5 years. And every time I would go, I would say, "Hey, do you remember me? If you do, can you please make this piece of equipment go off?" And it would make it go off. So it falls into that line of like how Linda was saying is they do get comfortable with you and everything else on those lines too. So it'll definitely keep you interested in wanting to go back.
Yeah, for sure. It's
So
really cool.
are there any locations down there by you where you guys are at?
Well, I'm very privileged to live in the South. So I guess it depends on who you ask if that's a privilege or not. But it is, you guys are also East Coasters. So there is just so much history on the East Coast. And so I think there's a lot of smaller locations, and maybe not even necessarily locations themselves, but my best friend in the world, Sierra, she's from the Appalachian Mountains, and she told me a place that she really wants to go, like investigate, if you will, is Brown Mountain out there. It's not so much as like paranormal as in spirits, but more of like paranormal as in potentially aliens. So I really want to go up there with her sometime because it's near where she's from. That whole thing, when she told me about it, I was like, I've never even heard of that before. And she was like, dude, that's like something that, it's just local legend. There's also I forgot what the location is named, but it's also in the Appalachian Mountains near where my friend is from. Um, it's an old hospital, but it's still running, and it is notoriously like haunted. I kind of want to ask her what it is. Um, but I really want to investigate that because I think that that would be so cool because she has just heard so many things from her time living up there. Like she's from there, she grew up there. Um, that it just makes me want to go investigate. But also out on the coast, um, I would also really like to investigate just not even anywhere in particular, but old historical buildings. There's a beautiful beach town in North Carolina near the Outer Banks called Beaufort, and they're still finding pieces of Blackbeard's ship out there, like to this day. Um, and all of the homes there are from like the late 17th, early 18th century. So I think it would be so cool to investigate a place like that. But no, like super huge locations come to mind. Of course, I'm within driving distance of Savannah, Georgia. There are definitely places that I would like to check out in Charleston for a more like paranormal experience rather than just a daytime historical experience. Because there's just so many opportunities, especially with like they have so many graveyards there, all these really old churches. Like I just think that they're so beautiful and it's just so spooky and eerie to just walk those streets where so many people across so many centuries have walked. So really just send me to an old town that dates back pretty far and I'm going to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like I'll go find something to try to investigate or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like it doesn't have to be a big place or anything like that. Just throw me in an old house.
Battlefields, parks,
Mhm.
cemeteries.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. So like for instance, like when you said battlefields, like during the American Revolution, the infamous Battle of Kings Mountain, so
Mhm.
like right down the road. So just things like that, It's really cool. And I should definitely take advantage of my location a lot more than I do, because I am within driving distance of so many places.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I was like, I mean, with us being up in PA and the part that we live in is it's not that far from Gettysburg and it's not that far from like
Yeah,
other locations, and it's like, might as well just take advantage of it because,
Mhm.
let's say you decide to move 6 hours away. Well, then you
Yeah.
come across 4 or 5 locations that were literally right in your backyard that you could have went to. It's like, well,
exactly.
now it's a further ride for you to go see now because you were just
Mhm.
right there.
I do have to say,
Exactly.
I do go to Fort Mifflin a lot.
You know, I've only been down there
During the day,
the one time.
you can go there as long as they're not having an event, and even during the week when it's in season, and you pretty much have the whole place to yourself. So I'll always like pocket little bits of equipment
Oh yeah.
Literally.
and just take with me.
I mean, I don't blame you in that sort. I'll be doing the same thing, especially when you're that close to it.
Yeah, I'm about 15 minutes from Fort Mifflin.
I wish. I wish I was that close to
Um,
a
I'm
to a.
about a half an hour from Valley Forge, about 20 minutes from Brandywine Battlefield.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The Grad.
Sorry.
No, no,
Last
you're
year,
good.
when we stayed in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
for the Paracon.
Uh-huh.
And actually, I love that little town, by the way. But it's like right there at Valley Forge, and I
Yes.
didn't even realize that. Like when we were driving through to get to Phoenixville, and
You
we did
drove
that,
through Valley Forge.
and I was like, I figured it out on the last day, and I was like, "What the hell? Has this been Valley Forge the whole time?" And I saw on it, it said National Historical Site, and I was like, "Are you? Am I just dumb? Like, how did I miss that this entire time?" But it's so cool to like. Honestly, I love Pennsylvania. Like, you guys are in a good state too because it is such a beautiful state, and it reminds me so much of here in North Carolina. I don't know if y'all have ever been to the Carolinas before,
Hmm.
but it really does remind me so much of home. It's just so comfortable, quaint. Except when you go to Philly, then it's a
Yeah.
little different. But
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I actually have family in Fort Mills, South Carolina,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah.
PKK, South Carolina.
Okay. So yeah, Fort Mill's like right down the road. It's like in my backyard essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, and take a K. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's right there too. So
Yeah. They're not far
yeah,
from each other.
yeah, not at all. It's so cool how like
Yeah, I've been
small
down
the
to
world
Raleigh.
is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been down to Raleigh a couple times when I was living down in Virginia. So I was like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
it was I think like an hour, 5 minute ride from where I was at down to Raleigh. So I was like, might as
Oh
well
yeah.
go check that out. That Danville, and then trying to think what the other one was. It's kind of in the same area. I don't think
Durham.
it's yes, that sounds about right.
Yes. Yeah, there Durham is kind of where Duke University is, so it's like kind of nicer. If that makes sense.
It does.
It's funny because Raleigh itself, it's our state capital, but Charlotte is way more like hustle, bustle, big city type feel, and
Hmm.
Raleigh is just like this is the capital. Like what? It's so funny, but it's still a good area. Still a good
Yeah,
area.
yeah, it's a good area to check out and visit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're getting down to the last few minutes here. Do you want to tell anybody about where they can find your podcast, where they can listen to it, and all that good stuff?
If you know what your next episode might be, or
Yeah.
even like a small hint.
Yeah. So you can listen to the Cryptic Mind podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. I keep it pretty simple. Those are the most popular platforms. So you can find me there. I'm on all social media for the most part. I have TikTok, though I don't post on it for the Cryptic Mind, but my personal TikTok is Madeline E. Monroe. So you can check that out if you're interested in looking at farm animals instead of the paranormal. Whatever. But also, my next podcast probably more than likely will have some hints of more modern day cryptids in it. Could potentially be Mothman. Who knows? If not that episode, definitely the next. Because that is definitely something that I'm very interested in kind of diving into. Of course, I've heard like the backstory of Mothman, but it's just so fascinating. Like so many people love Mothman.
Yes.
So many people.
They have so many festivals.
Right. And that's what makes it so interesting. Well, like Mothman and also Bigfoot, like it's crazy.
I was about to say that too. I was going to say a lot of people are really into Bigfoot too.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like I thought that it was just like this. I'm going to sound a little ignorant here, but I thought that it was just a North Carolina thing, like an Appalachian thing, because I would like when I go on vacation to the mountains and stuff, which is pretty frequent. There's always stuff about Bigfoot. Well, when I went to Wyoming, Bigfoot, there's like Bigfoot stickers.
They're big Bigfoot.
And it's crazy. Do you want to know who else is Bigfoot people? Alaska.
Yes.
I didn't know that either until I went to Alaska and I was seeing all kinds of Bigfoot stuff. And I was like, are you kidding? I don't know anything. It's not just a Carolina thing. It is definitely an everywhere thing. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's even up in the mountains in parts of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
There's Bigfoot hunter socials and
yeah
and watches, and they're like camp for the whole weekend.
Yeah, which is crazy. It's so crazy. Now, like as far as like the festivals and stuff, I thought that was just a Carolina thing. But like when I think about Bigfoot, I think of Colorado for some reason, but I don't know why that is. But
because Colorado has a lot of mountains, I think.
Maybe
at least that's how I think of it. Because when you think
Rocky
of
Mountains,
Bigfoot, you think maybe more mountains.
Yeah. Everywhere's Bigfoot crazed, so it's crazy. It doesn't matter where you're at. So. Yeah.
Maybe not so much Hawaii.
No.
Right. It's like you go to Hawaii. It's like you go to Hawaii and there's like Bigfoot festivals there too or something. You're like, okay, maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody listening to this later on will prove me wrong. Yeah. And that's okay. I accept that. So we will definitely post about your podcast and Spotify and Apple and YouTube. I don't know when this one's going to be posted.
Probably in June, because there's one more before this one drops. So at some point in June, I'm not going to say a specific date, because as long as everything goes according to plan and there's no more issues with putting out, the audios and videos, it should be probably like the second week of June. As long as there's no issues. If there's issues, then hopefully I'll be able to snip it a whole lot sooner and catch it. So
yeah, totally get that though. Like if it ends up being July, don't feel like you need to apologize, because let me tell you, this is something that I dealt with Fear Babes, where we had somebody booked every single weekend, and we would be like, yo, your episode, like we would record in June and their episode wouldn't come out until September. We're like, please, just it's okay. Like, don't hate us. We just need to record now, post later. Right. So yeah, I don't take offense to it at all. So
appreciate that. Really do. Appreciate that for sure.
But yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's been a pleasure talking with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you everybody that tuned in to listen to this episode. If you were watching it on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you were listening to it on Spotify or Apple, please hit the follow button so you get notifications of the next episode. Thank you again, everybody.
Catch you on the next episode.